Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be going over the second set of benchmarks that I did with the $200 budget gaming PC. First off, this is a quick look at the specifications. You can pause the video if you like to, otherwise I'm just going to keep going since I went over them in the previous video for the benchmarks. The first game that I tried in this set of benchmarks was Counter-Strike Global Offensive. That was played at 1440p like all these games will be, and it was on the maximum settings. In a standard competitive match on Dust 2, the max frame rate was 221, average was 141.74, and minimum was 43 frames. Definitely playable, it was very smooth, it ran extremely well. The next game I played was Just Cause 2, and for the single player campaign mode, this was just on the benchmarking utility tool that came with the game. There is 3 different benchmarks that are on this game, and the two that were the easiest to run, I threw those benchmarks out and I took the most difficult one, and that's what I got here. Were these results where I got 61 for the max frame rate, 45 for the average, and 31 for the minimum. Then I went online and I tried this game, and I was able to get 97 for the max, 55 for the average, and 17 for the minimum. The reason why the minimum is a little bit lower than the single player one was I was over in the airplane area, and as you know, with Just Cause multiplayer, which can handle up to 500 people, it gets a little CPU intensive and the frame rates can drop a little bit. So my frame rates dropped when I went over there, and when I was around the airport it was about mid-20s to high 20s for the frame rate for the most part. Other than that, it ran it very well. Next up was Kerbal Space Program. It had this was at the maximum settings as well, and I was able to get 184 for the max frame rate and 79 for the average. It did get 0, however, for the minimum, but that was because on explosions or crashes for your aircrafts in Kerbal Space Program, or sometimes on the launch pad when you have too many objects on there, you'll get a very low frame rate. So it did have 0 for a little bit, but that was only a short time. The game is very playable, and this computer handles it extremely well. Next up was Battlefield 3. This was set to the Ultra preset settings, and on the single player campaign it got 69 for the max, 56 for the average, and 38 for the minimum. Then I went on and I tried it on the multiplayer, which was just a standard simple deathmatch game, which is either 10 versus 10 or 12 versus 12, I cannot remember. But this was on the same settings, this was on the Ultra preset, and it got 101 for the max, 57 for the average, and 23 for the minimum. Next up was Metro Last Light, which is a fairly demanding game. On the Ultra preset for this game, the computer got 80 for the maximum, 44 for the average, and 27 for the minimum. Definitely plays this game pretty well as well. You can always adjust the settings if you want to get a higher frame rate though. After that, I tested Grid 2. This seems to be a popular game amongst people who do benchmarks at times. For this game, I was able to get 68 for a maximum, 53 for an average, and 41 for the minimum, and that was just at the Ultra settings, and that was within the benchmarking utility tool for the Grid 2 game itself. After that, for the final game, I played Hitman Absolution, and that was at the medium settings, and for those settings it got 51 for a max, about 41 for the average, and 32 for the minimum. I chose medium because I wanted to get at least 30 frames for it, but if you really want to, you can push it to the high settings and adjust it however you want if you want to get higher frame rates as well. Anyway, thanks for watching guys. I don't know if I'm going to make another benchmarking video, but if there is enough interest on it, I can definitely try and find some more games. If you guys have game suggestions that you want me to play, you can always let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys stick around for the next video. Peace.